Hello everyone and welcome to the Pitch Edinburgh final. We had over 500 entries to the pitch this year, and from those 500 we picked 60 to pitch at events around the country. So we've already been to Bristol, Birmingham, Manchester and London twice, and now we're up here in Edinburgh. So really excited to hear from the local community, the founders that are building businesses in this area, and we've got a really amazing cohort tonight. So before we get into the pitches, we're going to meet our judges and hear a little bit more about what they do, how they support startups and what they look for in a pitch. There will be some audience questions at the end of the panel, so do have a think if there's anything you want to ask about fundraising in general or maybe your own journey, you'll have an opportunity to do that. So I'd love to welcome Amelie to the stage, and can I get a massive round of applause for our judges, please?
Hi everyone, so glad to see so many people here, and as Chris said, it's really exciting. We've seen so many amazing pitches already over the last couple of weeks, so we're very excited to hear from you guys tonight. But before we get into it, I just want to introduce the people on my right. So on my far right, we've got Mary Jane from Mint Ventures, in the middle, Barry from British Business Bank, and on my closest right, David from Barclays Eagle Labs. So before we get into the pitching, let's hear a little bit more from these guys. Can you just start by telling us a little bit more about yourselves and what you do?
Terrible pitcher, by the way. Terrible. So I'm Dave.
I think it's okay.
Is it?
I think it's okay.
I'll take it. Thank you, Barry. Thank you. So I'm Dave, Barclays Eagle Labs regional lead for South East Scotland. My day job is quite simply to talk to founders, talk to business owners. As a Scouser, I can talk a lot, so that's great that is my job. And it's just to basically say, look, what are you doing? What are you doing next? What does success look like? What are the big key actions that you're trying to achieve now? And then how can we, as Barclays Eagle Labs, with our proposition, help you do that? 4 key ways, 10 parts of the proposition, but 4 key things we look to help with. Number 1 is introduction to new markets and customers. 2, introductions to employees. 3, big thing for today, introductions to investors. And then number 4, then education through a different host of accelerator programs and business mentors. But it's all complimentary, don't even have to bank with us. So that makes my job very easy. Great,
thanks. And Barry?
How to follow that? So I'm senior manager in Scotland at the British Business Bank. We're the UK's economic development bank, owned by the UK government, but independently managed. And my job is the eyes and ears of the bank in Scotland. So keeping an eye on the market, developing the relationships, and then trying to leverage those relationships to have a really firm footing of what's happening in the market, where are the gaps, and what can we do at the bank to help. So on that front, we're going to be launching an investment fund for Scotland in the next few weeks, where we'll be putting 150 million into the Scottish market just for Scottish companies. And yeah, really looking forward to tonight. Stay calm, don't worry about it. We're a friendly bunch.
Great, and Mary Jane.
Thank you. I'm Mary Jane Brouwers. I've been working with early stage investors in Scotland for a few decades, a long time, and it's amazing to see how the ecosystem has evolved in the time since I've been involved. I've worked with a range of different investors, including Bank of Scotland Equity, which was growth equity, through to the Scottish Investment Bank, so that's economic development investment. And now, as you can see, I'm an associate with Mint Ventures, and we are operating in one of the gaps that was mentioned, which is there aren't enough women investing, full stop, and Mint Ventures is there to try and encourage more women to get into early stage investing, angel investing, and there aren't enough women CEOs. And there aren't enough women CEOs getting investment. So that's the area that Mint Ventures is active in. And we invest at a very early stage, and because we're a new syndicate, a new group of investors, and we have moderate firepower at the moment, so that's very well aligned with early stage businesses.
Great, and Mary Jane's anticipated my next question. So if you just pass the mic back to Barry, just to hear a little bit more about the type and size of business that you back.
So we back investors to support companies at every stage, from startups to scale up, from companies that need working capital. So we've got options across debt and equity. And I think the key thing to note is that we've probably got a finance option for almost every business that's out there. Whether or not you're the right fit, then that's a different thing. But I think when I speak to the investors that we work with in Scotland, what they're looking for is authenticity. I think it's really important. Are you being yourself? Do you know what the addressable market is? So maybe you know what the market is in global terms, but do you know who your competition is here? And how realistic are your expectations? And always remember as well that as investors, they're looking for the exit, fundamentally. So get excited about the technology, but if you can communicate traction, sales, revenues, then you just make yourself more investable.
Anything to add?
Sure you do.
Do I?
Maybe just a little bit more about the types of businesses you invest in. And again, Barry has actually anticipated my next question. So but once we've done that, we can talk a bit more about what you're looking for.
What's the next question? Because I'll anticipate that one. So as a bank, obviously, we're well known. We invest in companies right across the board. We're lucky enough that we have products available from very early stage businesses through to multi-international, turning over hundreds of millions of pounds. Eagle Labs specifically, on the other hand, our focus is really on early stage startups and scale up. So anybody can come to me with an idea. They might not have took that idea anywhere, but we can get involved as early as that through to probably corporate level. Sort of once you're turning over 6 million plus, you can always do with a mentor, for an example, but you probably at that point want to be a mentor. So it's probably a startup to sort of corporation level-ish.
Great. And just to, kind of add to what Barry's already touched on, really, just the things that you were looking for immediately when you first hear a pitch.
Something different, because that's what gets me excited. If it's something that you're the only person doing, and you can prove, as Barry made out, the traction of that and why that's exciting and innovative is the word I'd use to your market. That's the sort of companies that get a lot of the investment, if you like. Yeah.
And Mary Jane, have you got anything to add?
Yeah, I certainly agree with the differentiation point, and it's what makes you different. And from the investor's perspective, it's important that you can protect that difference as well, either because you're from a time point of view, so you're a long way ahead of the competition, or you can protect that difference through copyright or intellectual property of some description. So I think that makes a big... You might be different today, but the investor wants you to keep on being different. So there's that. But also, on a personal level, I think determination is huge. Investors are backing teams of people, and I think that resilience, determination is a key characteristic. It's not that easy to do this, and you certainly need to demonstrate your determination to impress the investors.
And leading on from... Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I was judging a pitch day yesterday. A couple of people were here who's pitching today. And I think if there's a bit of advice, it is, so if you know what you're being scored against, this might seem simple, make sure you hit those points. Because if you don't, then you get scored down. That seems very straightforward, but just know where the goalposts are. And likewise, be really clear about your why. Like, why are you here? What are you going to do, and when are you going to do it? So sometimes I think a lot of founders overcomplicate and just try and keep the story simple. It doesn't need to be perfect. Make a mistake, doesn't matter. It's not a pursuit of perfection. It's just do your best, and investors are nice people, believe it or not.
So you kind of talked about the essentials there, but is there anything that really excites you in a pitch?
Yeah, I mentioned innovation before. But obviously, when investors see a lot of pitches, and a lot of them are PowerPoints because that's a pitch deck and you've taught to write your pitch deck and so on. But if you can deliver it in a different way, that'll make you stand out. And that's, as I say, you see so many of these things that doing something slightly different to stand out and make you memorable. So that's something... It sounds really daft, that, because we do a funding readiness program, which is all about getting a pitch ready and getting you your pitch deck. And then I'm like, don't do a pitch deck. Do a pitch deck, but just deliver it maybe a bit differently.
Just on that, don't be a pitching robot. right? Which is strange because you're drilled to be a pitching robot, but it's about having that in your locker to really personalise it, and make eye contact, because it's fundamentally a people game, as Mary Jane was talking there. And I think in terms of what excites me, I think it's just getting the opportunity to just see people in their flow. Like when you just see them, and let's say they stumble at the start, and then within about a minute in, they're just in it. I quite like seeing that. I think there's a lot you get just from seeing good people do good work. I think you get a huge amount from that.
The excitement is important, and I think some of that is what you communicate in when you're sharing your business idea, because you've got a vision, you know what you're trying to do. If you're not excited about what you're trying to do, you're not going to convince investors. So it really is that there is this huge problem or this huge opportunity, and I'm uniquely positioned to deliver against it. It's that excitement that I think, from an investment point of view, it might be something I've never thought of, or a new technology, completely don't understand it, but I can see the problem, I can see your excitement, and I can see why what you're talking about is going to solve that problem.
Definitely. So bring your best energy tonight, guys.
Do you want to get some water? Are you sure? Are you sure? We can wait. Right? We don't. Look after yourself.
Okay, so let's talk about the founding team a bit more now. So, there will be a lot of solo founders in the room, or maybe a couple of people, but just thinking about the people they need to surround themselves with, thinking about mentors and advisors, like how important is that team and those people they surround themselves with?
I think it's critical. It's also a way in which you can credentialise your company. So if you can, this is a 90-second pitch as well, but if you can signal that you're thinking already about what your non-exec looks like, and what your board might look like, because they can provide counsel, which can be free. Maybe they're taking a bit of equity, but you're making yourself more investable. You're showing you're sophisticated, that you're thinking ahead. I think that's the key thing. Okay, it might be your first raise, but if you're planning it out, you're approaching it with a strategic outlook, you're bringing in people, it can make a huge difference. It also means that if you do have investors later down the road who want to flood your non-execs, then you can say, well, actually, I've got this expertise in commercial, I've got your expertise in technical, and it allows you to defend your cap table a little bit more.
Yeah. And yeah, team-wise, so if you're taking a business plan to an investor, the investor will know what that business plan has in it before they've even opened it. Are your sales going up? Yeah, probably says that they're going up. Is your customer base going up? I imagine the business plan probably says that that's going up as well. Is your profitability going up? If you've done the business plan and you're saying your profitability is going down, change your business plan. But all of the arrows are going in one direction. What an investor's looking for is, okay, that's what you're telling me, but tell me how do we know your team's going to deliver that? So the team is vital.
Mary Jane, anything you would like to add to that?
Yeah, so one of the things that investors are really keen on is that the potential investees are prepared to listen, because the investors think that they're in a good position to guide you and advise you and support you. But it's really helpful if you demonstrate that you are prepared to listen. So I was talking about determination and resilience, and that doesn't mean working on your own. It means working out what gaps you have and making sure that you're working with other people, either on a mentorship basis or a catching up for coffee or some sort of more formal relationship. But if you can demonstrate through your formal or informal team that you do listen, that will be a big plus to investors.
Great. And just want to touch on something, David, that you've just talked about in terms of traction, and thinking about, particularly early stage businesses and what that looks like for them. What are you looking for in terms of traction?
Well, yeah, just proof that the customer market is there. And that sounds really simple, right? But it's not easy to prove. So you see a lot of pictures where it's like, this market's worth £50 billion. It's like, well, how much of that are you going to get? And how do you prove that that's how much you're going to get? And it can be simple things like early stage, if it's very, very early stage, that can be something as simple as having a holding page website and say sign up to my email. And if 10,000 people sign up to your email and you're that early stage, clearly you're showing traction. It could be how many Twitter followers you have if you're very early stage. But yeah, telling somebody a market's worth 10 billion, well, if you're going to get none of it, what's the point? It can be worth as much as it wants to be.
Anything to add, Barry?
Can the company stand on its own feet? That's what it kind of boils down to. So you go through the investment journey, but are you going to make money? Are investors going to make returns? And I think that's, sure, you might be in the ideation phase, maybe you're building technology, you're getting product market fit, but do you have an idea of when you might be generating revenues, when you might be able to break even? And I think trying to think like that is, I think, so important. Just remember, it's going to take 7-8 years for the investor to get an exit all going well. And they're going to be thinking about that as they invest. So can I get in and out quickly and exit? That's, Mary Jane, you know more than me, but is that fair?
So I'm going to, thank you. I'm going to put a slightly different slant on it. I've spent quite a bit of time working with impact investors. So to add to what Barry's just been saying, there are more and more investors looking for more than just a financial return. And for a lot of you here today, there will be aspects of your business that are just as important to you as the top line or the bottom line. And I think Barry's completely right, and a classic banking approach to this, if you don't mind me saying, which is you do need to be self-sustaining or attractive to investment, but there are lots of other things that your businesses can deliver. And if they are important to you, don't pretend that they're not. Don't just focus on the financial returns. Bring those elements into your pitch as well, because there are investors who will be attracted to that aspect of your business just as much as possibly a more modest financial return, because they can see the difference you're making in other areas, and they'll factor that into their portfolio return calculation.
Lovely. And Barry, we'll come back to you. I feel like you got the short straw being in the middle there, so I'll come to you for this one. Just thinking about like any sectors or particular technologies that you're really excited about?
I'm excited about everything. I love to see companies that are doing something interesting and novel that's B2C. So most investors will focus on B2B, tech, life sciences, but where you're using disruptive means, technologies, methods to disrupt a conventional orthodox market, I've got a soft spot for that. I think we all have what we like. I think likewise, in touching on what Mary Jane said as well, I think you're focusing on the returns, but if it's genuinely going to have an impact, I think it's difficult not to get excited about the beyond profit part, especially when you're genuinely trying to tackle maybe a fundamental environmental problem, maybe social mobility, whatever it is. It's difficult to not get influenced by the passion of the people that you're talking to and what they're trying to do. And so whether it's quantum, life sciences, SaaS, God, there's so many great SaaS companies in Scotland. I think there's lots of great businesses in Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a gamer, so games tech is obviously top of my list when I start listening. And then Edinburgh, when I moved here, so I've only lived here, as you can probably tell from the accent, I'm not Scottish, but I moved here April last year. And I thought when I moved here, I was going to be speaking to fintech companies left, right and centre, but genuinely there's a bit of energy tech, but I'm finding Edinburgh's dominated by health tech, which is very interesting to me, especially at Barclays Eagle Labs. We've just set up an AI industry. But we can already start to see how AI can make the health tech sector so much better and hopefully help us as a human race. So I don't know what I was saying there, where that came from, but that health tech, and that might just be because I do a lot of work with University of Edinburgh that has a lot of health tech accelerators and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm starting to get very excited about health tech. Not that, by the way, if anybody pitches and they're not health tech, I will not hold that against you.
And Mary Jane, anything in terms of like sectors or tech that you're looking forward to seeing kind of coming up?
Well, from Mint Ventures' point of view, somebody mentioned it tends to be a challenge in Scotland to get funding if you're not business to business. So a lot of the Scottish investors, that's what they prefer. So if you're a B2C product, that can be more difficult. And investors tend to like companies that will scale significantly, so that puts you more likely in software product or solutions as opposed to something physical. So Mint Ventures, I said they were filling a gap, looking for women-led businesses, but is also one of the few investors in Scotland that is interested in seeing retail products. And generally the sectors that perhaps won't scale as much, but for some reason tend to attract more women entrepreneurs because they're different kind of sectors. So Mint Ventures will look at those opportunities. I can't guarantee that they will back them, but they are at least prepared to listen to those opportunities. And a lot of investors are not, because it doesn't fit their investment criteria.
Great, and really great to hear, not just about, what's sort of generally exciting, but also specific to this region as well. I think if we've got time, we can take a couple of questions from the audience. If anybody's feeling brave and very inquisitive, please raise your hand. Anybody got a question for our lovely judges this evening? Don't be shy. As you can tell, they're very lovely. Sorry, what was that? Don't be shy. Oh, there you go. Look out for that one. Any? Yeah. Yes, at the back.
I would like to know, what about the don'ts on the page? Like, what shouldn't go?
Yeah. Okay. So for the purposes of the recording and for the people at the front, are there any don'ts in terms of pitching? Anybody want to take this?
Well, I think the main point's been mentioned, which is understand what you've been asked to do. So if somebody says a 90-second pitch, that's a pretty short pitch, but that's what today is, then that's what you deliver, because the whole thing's set up for a 90-second pitch. And if somebody says 3 minutes or half an hour, you really do need to make sure you've understood what the ask is, and don't be shy to ask what the ask is a second time, just to make sure you've understood. So follow the instructions, because each event and investor has different criteria, so you need to be paying attention to what they are.
So I would extend that a little bit and go, not just your pitch, but let's say you're bumping into investors at conferences, like, do your homework. If there's one thing that investors dislike enormously, is spurious emails when the founders are pitching, they haven't looked at their thesis, the range at which they invest, because that's just a no, and you're wasting their time. So do your homework and try and get that warm intro. So if you can even before the pitch have found a way in, or realised actually the person you're pitching likes croquet, like whatever it is, you use that. It's almost just trying to do research on the investors themselves as well, because they're people. And I think if you can go above and beyond and really do your homework, it makes you stand out. It might not convert, but I think you're showing you're going the extra mile.
It's be a LinkedIn. All right. Wonder where that came from. LinkedIn stalker, that's your answer. So I've seen some pitches where the founder has basically slagged off the competition as part of their pitch. Yeah, see, the reaction says it all. So do say why you're different from your competitors and why what you're delivering is better than what they're doing. Do not say, my competitors, the A, B, C, and D, and the crap. Like, don't, because you just lose, it's not very professional, and people will probably lose confidence in you. So I'm sure you won't do that, but don't.
Also a very small room, so you can't get away if you do that. Question at the front?
Yes. How do you value a business which hasn't turned over any money yet, and the startup says it's worth 500,000, 100,000, 1 million? They're all made up numbers. How do you value it?
It does depend on the investor that you're talking to. Really, what as has already been said, the investors are looking for a return, and usually, if you do your homework, as been advised, you can find out what sort of return investors are looking for. Typically, angel groups are looking for a 3 times money return as a minimum. That's what they would be happy with that. They get the tax breaks on top. If they get 3 times their money back, they'll be quite happy. So the value of the business has to be at the right level so that when it's sold, they'll get 3 times their money back. So that's the bottom end of the valuation range from the investor's point of view. So every time you go to an investor, there's a recalculation, because you can say whatever you like, the investors will note what you said, but they will work out what they think they could sell the company for, the company could be sold for. Ultimately, how much investment it will take to get to that point, and can they get the money multiple that they're looking for. So that valuation will change, it'll be different. Every investor you speak to will have a slightly different idea of what that valuation is. And as time moves on, that number will change as well. So there's absolutely no hard and fast rule at all.
It's very comprehensive. Anything to add?
That's a good answer. That's a good. So I'm in your shoes, or just magically, because I like croquet, and I'm going to look at what's out there in the market. I'm going to go, right, so in companies that are similar to mine, what have they sold for? What were they acquired for? And then I'd look at them in greater depth and look at what their value. I'd reach out to them, find out what their valuation was in the first round, in their second round. Because if you go too high, you're not going to get what you want. And if you go too low, so it's all relative. So make sure that you have a look at what else has been sold, acquired, and kind of work back the way, because I'll be honest, I don't know how you value, how do you, and there's means of which to do it, but it is a guess, right? It can be an educated guess, an informed one, but there's so many assumptions and variables within that. So that'd be my bit of advice. Would you, David?
Yeah, I don't know what to add to it. Because I don't. That's a cop-out, but I don't value companies. It's not part of my job. But it's like Dragon's Den, what Mary Jane was saying, anyway. Somebody goes in, it's like, my company's worth 20 million. It's like, you've only got 2 customers, I'm out. Don't do that. So yeah, I suppose exactly what Barry's saying. Look at similar companies, what they've exited for. Educated guess. Just don't overvalue in a ridiculous manner, because you'll put the investor off before you've even delivered your pitch.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. I think we're going to have to wrap it up there before you give away all of your secrets. But before we go, just could you let everybody know where they can reach you, where they can find you?
Yeah, LinkedIn is fine. That's the same picture, so it should be easy to get. Of the Barclays Eagle Labs website under Edinburgh, I'll have my email and my telephone number on there as well, or a working code base. If you're ever in code base, come and say hello.
Yeah, LinkedIn's a bit best for me. You can go on the British Business Bank website, but yeah, just get in touch directly and come say hello.
And for me, I'm on LinkedIn as well. There's a Mint Ventures website with a speak to us email address, and anybody is encouraged to have a look at that. And we're really keen to speak to entrepreneurs, even before you've really consider yourself to be an entrepreneur. So we have office hours, happy to speak to people informally, even when you're just setting out.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, guys. Can you have another round of applause for our fantastic judges, everyone?
Amazing to hear some insight there into lots and lots of different aspects of fundraising, and particularly like how to get in touch with people and construct a pitch that's going to make a difference. So really thanks for the panel there. We're going to get on to the pitching part of the event now. So at the pitch, we do try and create a supportive environment as we can. So I don't know if you've ever had to pitch in front of an audience or even tried to explain your business in 90 seconds. It is tough. So the way we make people feel as welcome as possible is, number one, no talking during the pitches. I don't think there's anyone here that would do that, but I feel like I'm going to say it every time just in case. The second thing is, as people are coming on stage, just give them a massive round of applause, get that energy up and make them feel really excited so that when they start pitching, they're ready to go. And then finally, when they finish that 90 seconds and they finish the pitching part of it, again, another round of applause. So with all that said, I'd love to welcome our first pitcher of the night, which is Sunsave Solutions.
Thank you. So, imagine we are in total darkness today, needing kerosene lamps or candles to see people next to you. Imagine you need to walk miles just to get electricity to charge your mobile phones. This is a situation faced by 19 million Cameroonians and over 700 million Africans today. At Sunsave Solutions, we are providing electricity, cleaner, affordable, and portable. We are providing solar home systems which can be installed in individual homes and individual businesses. We differentiate ourselves in the market by working through cooperative groups, religious institutions, and using a pay-as-you-go model, which means our clients can pay in monthly installments equivalent to the cost of kerosene, candle, or alternative sources of electricity. We have successfully run a pilot scheme with 20 households to validate our business model and also to understand our product better. We are a team of 4. My name is Favor Onyema. I'm a co-founder in Sunsave Solutions. I have an engineering and renewable energy technology background. The other co-founders who are not here today bring an experience in marketing, business development, and grassroots community development. Thank you. We want you to join us to unlock potentials and also power access to brighter lives. Thank you.
I'm scoring via this, so don't think I'm being rude. So that's for other people as well. Don't think I'm being rude if I'm on the phone. Tell us a little bit why you're here. Why did you start this?
So I come from Nigeria, and the issue of electricity access is my lived experience. We are a country that is plagued with energy scarcity and unreliability. And then the rural community, on one hand, on the other hand, is another part of the country that lacks total access to electricity. So the grid cannot get to the rural communities, and communities from the rural villages are forced to rely on kerosene or candles. I have not lived in the rural community all my life, but I go there for holidays just to see my grandparents and other families who live there. So this is my lived experience, and it was one of the reasons why I said I need to prefer a solution to this challenge.
You mentioned you've done a pilot, and then your business model or your funding model was going to be a pay-as-you-use subscription. So I imagine that's going to mean quite a lot of cash outlay for the company. So beyond the pilot, it's 2 questions, sorry, Mary Jane. But what conversations are you having with potential buyers and potential clients, and then how are you funding the equipment up front before the clients come on board?
Okay, so for a pilot, it was totally bootstrapped. And when we went out for the pilot, most of the conversations we have been having with those who have installed our product is just to understand how the product is helping them improve their quality of life, how they are managing the product. We educate them on how to use the product and how they are managing it, what challenges they are having. One of the customers we installed a system for complained about how he actually needs to go there, check it every time, and sometimes it fluctuates. And so that is something we've taken into account to work on improving and ensuring that we strengthen our product. So as part of the pilot, we also had people register their interest. We had about 50 people register their interest on that day. And because we work through local cooperatives and religious institutions, we have representatives on ground there who can actually talk to people, who can actually, collect orders from people. And that's why we're here today, actually, to raise money that can fund the upfront capital cost of this product.
I'm going to ask 2 questions too. You talked about the collaboration with cooperatives and churches in the rural areas. What sort of diligence do you do as a business on those potential partners? And another partner in your business model is presumably the finance provider for the pay-as-you-go solution, and I wondered whether you have already selected them.
Okay, so right now we have not selected any partners for the financing, but for the question where you talked about the due diligence, so these are more like relationships. When we go into the community, we are having conversations with people. We're trying to understand what are the challenges you face with electricity. And just by these conversations, you find people that are passionate about the topic. You find people that are also buying into the idea. And so we're able to pick from those conversations people that are interested. And then sometimes we also work with technicians. And we know that these technicians have the knowledge of solar panels, the batteries, and they are also our go-to people. So when we have conversations with them, we know they have the skills, we know they have the experience. They also work as our representatives. Yeah.
Perfect. That's all the time we've got for questions. Thank you. Well done. So next up, we've got Matt from Sleepl.
Hi, my name is Matt Watson and I'm the founder of Sleepl. We are building a sleep device for children that will transform bedtime for kids and bring tranquility to households. Being the dad of 2 kids, I know firsthand how hard it is to raise kids with sleep deprivation affecting everyone in the household. And sleep disorders are becoming increasingly common, affecting 30% of children, and they're most often undiagnosed. Sleep disorders lead to problems with productivity at school, impaired cognition, and lead to problems with health and well-being. Sleepl is designed to sit on a bedside table and record the sound of a child breathing at night. We then push this information to the cloud and using AI, analyze it to assess quality of sleep. Sleepl is an early diagnostic tool for sleep disorder breathing, sleep apnea, and sleep hypopnea. In the morning, real time, we then use machine learning to offer a bespoke treatment plan for the child using calming sounds and music, stories, and breathing exercises. Basically, if a child wakes up at night, Sleepl kicks into gear and does what it can to get the child to get back to sleep. We're currently testing this device with the polysomnogram units at the NHS hospitals in Lothian with really excellent results, and the results that we're getting are better than any actigraphy-based wearable device currently on the market. Sleepl is very simple to use and works straight out of the box. We are looking to raise £1.5 million to get this product to market. Thank you.
Thank you for the pitch. You talk a little bit about the competition, and so I'm interested to hear perhaps on a practical level the relative cost of your product versus the competition and the ease of use and ease of manufacture. So you talk about one aspect where you are performing ahead of them, but if you can give a bit more information, please.
So the retail price of the intended retail price of the product is around £90. And in terms of the competition, I'm comparing it against actigraphy-based devices like Apple Watches and Fitbits, which are based on movement. And we're working with one of the top sleep clinicians in the country, and she lets us know that our product is basically, the results that we're getting are better than any movement device, which works in a completely different way. So the information that we glean from breathing is more accurate than the results that you would get from a wearable device. It works in a different way.
Sorry, and I guess the margin, I get the manufacturing costs. So you said what your price will be, and the competition, relatively speaking, is.
To be honest, there isn't anything quite like this on the market. Sleepl is forging a new path, so there really isn't anything quite like this. We're doing something completely new. So, new product. Hopefully, nothing. Little competition, basically.
I'm a simple beast. Just break it down for me. What does it do? What does your product do? In very basic terms.
So, Roger, can you show? So it sits on a bedside table, and it records the sound of breathing at night. That's the device. That's just a shell, but that's what it looks like. And we then push the information to the cloud, and we analyze it using an algorithm that we've created, and a lot of scientific stuff happening. And then real time, we push the information back to the device, and we can train it through machine learning to help a child that is awake at night. So if you have a child and your child wakes up at 2 a.m, then Sleepl...
Never heard, don't know what you mean.
Sleepl kicks into gear and does what it needs to get them back to sleep. Does that explain it?
You go.
Have you got another?
Yeah, I was just going to say, how? So just go on after that sentence. Yeah, what does it do to help aid the return to sleep?
It soothes them, so it produces calming music, calming sounds, and breathing exercises, but it will learn through machine learning what is most suited to that child. So obviously everyone's different, and whatever gets the child back to sleep, the machine will learn, and the more it's used, the cleverer it will become, basically.
My question's around your team. So obviously there's a techie involved, but what makes your team going to be successful to take this to market beyond obviously, like, you've got yourself and Roger, but who else are you surrounding yourself with advisor-wise and so on?
So we have, we've got the sleep clinician, which is obviously a fantastic relationship for us. So we have a relationship with the NHS and the sleep clinician that we're working with. And then I'm not an engineer myself, so we have really fantastic engineers, both hardware and software, and CAD designers. We do need marketing people, so that there's people missing from our team, and an FD, but we have engineers, basically. Yeah.
That's all the time we've got.
Okay, thank you.
I think anyone that can sell sleep to parents is maybe onto a good thing. Next up, we have Ansearch. So if Ansearch, come to the stage. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mel from Ansearch. How many times have you been working in a team, and when you're looking for information, you're asking yourself, is it in a chat? Or is it maybe in a PDF? And the reality is, you're sure you've seen it, but you cannot recall exactly where it is because there are so many tools. And this means that employees are wasting on average 19% of the time looking for information in their companies. So what we're building at Ansearch is a solution to address this. We connect to every tool that you have, Slack, OneDrive, HubSpot, and we make their data searchable from one place. Imagine having Google, except all the results are going to come from your company. So to date, we have released our MVP. We have 3 people that are interested to pay the tool immediately, and we have 5 companies on our sales pipeline, and their budget range between 10 and 20 pounds per user per month. But what really sets us apart here is our team. We have a really good team, and we have done all of this, so this early traction, this MVP, under 5 months. And at the speed of development that we will have the same amount of integration as our biggest competitors within a year. all by also proposing a technology that is much better for privacy, because we can work with or without saving any data in the cloud. So that's also why today I'm going to look for £200,000 to be able to address the needs of the companies that are on sales pipeline and to grow our business to the next stage. So this was Ansearch. Thank you very much. One search for all your tools.
Great strapline. And where can Barclays sign up? Because our internal search system is horrendous. So, yeah. So you mentioned that you've got 3 customers willing to pay straight away, and then another 5, did you say, in the pipeline?
So it's 5 individuals that are ready to pay £10 per month. And we also have 5 companies of 50 to 500 employees that are interested in the tool, and I'm trying to get into pilots with them. One of them, for example, is Johnston Chemical.
Okay, and how big is the market? Have you done the market research to see how big this could go? Well, because it sounds like it's very much a worldwide solution.
Yes, so what I was working on this market research was what is the easiest client to go to, and this would be tech businesses and consulting companies, maybe law firms that are fast growing between 10 and 500 employees. And in these really targeted markets, and only in the UK, that's about 235 million a year.
How are you going to price it? If you thought further ahead, so your app's available, how much will it cost? How will you tier it to go after quite diverse customers?
Well, one of the things is our technology, because it doesn't save any data in the cloud, costs us about £1 per year per user, and the customers are willing to pay £10 to £20 per month. So we'll go with whatever they want to pay.
That's an unusual business model for a tech business, anyway. You talked about how great your team is, and I think it sounded as though they were mainly on the tech side of the business, and you need to sell this, and you need people who know how to sell. I wondered who in your team will be convincing these businesses that you've been in touch with to set up those pilots. How are you building that commercial traction?
So currently I'm doing that, but I'm also talking with 4 people that are interested to become co-founders. I'm not completely sure. I'm just doing trial with those people. They're really good also in what they're doing. I'm just making sure that they're a good fit also culturally with the business. Otherwise, I will be looking also to non-executive directors or mentors that are really good, especially in sales, so I can learn from them.
And so for the trials that you're talking about, do you have an ask? Have you thought about what you're trying to get out of the trials possibly from a product development point of view?
So in terms of product development, I think I already got a lot of feedback. It would be more into how much time can we save to those people. I'm pretty sure we can save already an hour per month, but I'm also sure we can do much more than that, which would mean a really high ROI, even at £10 per month per user.
I think that's all the time we got for this. Great, and next up we have Chris from MagPye.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Chris, the founder of MagPye. MagPye was conceived when my partner and co-founder Sarah and I experienced a lack of comfort food options which fitted our plant-based lifestyle. Some great products like the Greggs vegan sausage roll, the McDonald's McPlant had paved the way, but there were no great vegan pies, yet. So by summer 2019, we were selling pie and mash from a trailer that we'd converted. As lockdown came around, MagPye had to quickly pivot to an online web shop. We found huge demand, first locally, then nationally. Following the success of our web shop, MagPye was featured in a GoDaddy TV advertising campaign, which has been seen more than 1.5 billion times across the UK so far. It's due to go back on air later this year. The MagPye range features modern plant-based versions of classics like the steak and ale pie, and we were awarded 3 British Pie Awards on our first entry. All of our pies are made in small batches. They feature handmade flaky short crust pastry, vegan, ethically sourced vegan ingredients, high quality, uncompromising fillings, and we're aiming to make the world's most sustainable pie. Starting off in our home kitchen, and then into our first small production unit. So far, we've made more than 90,000 pies, selling online, through local markets, events, small retailers, also on match days at the world's greenest football club, Forest Green Rovers. We're planning to scale up production with a brand new, fully accredited production unit, looking to take advantage of the many opportunities to sell our planet-friendly, plant-powered pies. Thank you.
That sounds delicious. I'm interested in your product development. I understand why you started this. You explained that. Where are you going with it?
So around 30, stats we can find, around 37.5 million people in the UK classify eating sustainably as important to them. 13 million people currently, and it's growing, class themselves as either flexitarian, vegetarian or vegan. So we see huge opportunities both in, initially probably in a direct-to-customer will be a significant part of our sales as it has been in the past, but also as we grow and as we can improve our margins with high capacity in production. We've had early conversations with the biggest food wholesaler in the UK, as well as a large major retailer, and they both want to be kept informed as soon as we've got production available.
Well done. 90,000 pies. How much did it cost per pie to make?
Currently, we're on about 70 pence ingredients, electricity, energy, all of that sort of stuff. It depends whether we sell them baked, unbaked, frozen, and so on.
And how much do you sell them for?
Wholesale £2.75, and our RRP is £3.95. Depending on where they're sold, people have had success at £4.50 a pie. Some of our bigger customers now do them for £3.75.
What's been your revenue like since you launched?
So the first 3 years, I always say that the first 3 years we ran a food business, and then the last year we've learned, or tried to learn how to run a food business. So the highest we got the revenue was about 90,000. The issue was our capacity and my shoulder from making pies. So that's where we're at right now, is trying to get some capacity to take advantage of the demand that we already know is there.
I suppose that comes on to my question. Firstly, why I asked you if you were a football fan with a name like that was really stupid of me. Clearly you were. But yeah, so 90,000 pies. You mentioned it was yourself and your partner that's been making the pies, but obviously you're looking to scale up your production. So 2 questions on that. Number 1, how's your team going to change? And then number 2, I'm assuming you're not just going to be selling the pies. Are you doing any partnerships? How are you going to start distributing them?
So we've got a really good advisory team who potentially going to become our board moving forward. We've got a guy called Alan Fayol who owns a branding and marketing agency. He's been advising us already on some of our sales, marketing, branding going forward. And we've also quite recently started working with a bakery called Dixon's, who are based in the northeast. They're a little bit less famous than Greg's, but they do the same sort of thing. They've got 31 retail stores. They want to stock our pies in the retail stores as soon as we get going. They turn over about 20 million, and they've offered mentorship, advice, said I can pick up the phone to ask them about anything. So we think we've got a good start on some advice and mentorship.
I've got one more sneaky question. Your cost base, how do you manage the fluctuations? So with the raw materials, it's a tough time. How do you manage that, and how do you maintain your profitability in that context?
It can be tricky. Obviously, the latest one is the energy prices over the last year. Basically, we turn raw ingredients into cooked ingredients using electricity. So we've tried to move, and we've successfully moved some of our customers onto unbaked pies just to eliminate the baking cost. Obviously, we can look at buying, as we grow, we can look at buying in bulk and getting some more spending power, which will bring ingredient costs down. But yeah, it's a constant battle.
That's all the time we've got. Next up, we've got Karen from Three Robins.
When one of my 3 boys became lactose intolerant, we started buying plant milks regularly, but we were quickly disappointed with the options available on supermarket shelves. We couldn't find a brand that worked well in both our lattes and the kids' cereal, and we found that we were always trading off between taste, performance, or nutrition. Too many plant-based products are also high in sugar or fail to take children's nutritional needs into account, and this makes it difficult as a parent to find healthy choices that work for the whole family. My name is Karen Robinson. I'm the founder of 3 Robins, and it was this real-life challenge that led me to start the business. The market for dairy alternatives is big and growing. 310 million litres of plant milk was consumed in the UK in 2022, and oat milk was the #1 choice. Yet surprisingly, no brand caters specifically for the family market, and this is despite the fact that by volume, they are the biggest consumers. It is this untapped market that we believe we're ideally placed to capture. Launched in May 2022, our original oat drink is not only barista standard, it's also fully fortified and has no added sugar. And our new chocolate oat milk has at least 30% less sugar than any other brand on the market, making it a healthier, everyday alternative for kids and adults alike. We're also gearing up to launch our new market-first oat milk-based smoothies for kids in early 2024, and these are going to be game changers in the kids' plant-based snacking aisle. Over the past 16 months, we've gained traction in over 65 farm shops, cafes, and grocers across Scotland. We also sell online, and we've just secured our first wholesale listing. Our products have won multiple industry awards, and although we're only a small team of 2, we have received support from the Good Food Programme, Scottish Edge, and the Hunter Foundation. Building on our successful regional launch in Scotland, we're now looking to raise an early stage investment of £250,000 that will allow us to invest in marketing and sustainably scale our sales and distribution UK-wide so that we can become the go-to plant milk brand for families. Thank you.
Well done. I'm glad. So you mentioned you're in like farm shops online and so on, but obviously looking to scale. So who are you trying to target? Where is the dream place that you'd see your product, and why?
So ultimately, most purchases are made in supermarkets. So that is the end goal. However, we're taking a very steady approach to get there. We believe we've got to get the traction. We need the brand awareness. And so that is why we focus regionally in Scotland. But now we're achieving the scale that will allow us to grow. Online is also going to be an important channel for us. So we will ultimately have supermarkets as our aim, but it will be a staged process to get there.
Again, and as those stages progress, you mentioned you're a team of 2. What are the plans to potentially expand that?
Yeah, we'll need to. So we have, I've been really taking advantage of outsourced expertise supporting the business. So the Good Food Programme is run by a group of exited food and drink founders called Mission Ventures, based in London. It's a 2-year program. So their mandate is to help healthier challenger brands get into supermarkets. So they're supporting us with a lot of, with building a successfully commercial model for our business. We also work with an external agency on our branding and marketing. So as we grow and as we get the investment, we'll be able to bring people in. Operations and sales will be our first focus, that when we raise the next stage, that's what we'll be doing.
Thank you. I guess you've already confronted a few manufacturing production challenges. I'd be interested to hear what hurdles you've already overcome to get to where you are now.
Sure. So getting to market was the first biggest challenge. Our product, which is just behind Chris over there, is ambient, and there's very limited manufacturing options for a product like that here in the UK. We managed to get a working relationship with the leading plant milk manufacturer in the UK. We now have an excellent relationship with them, and we will be able to scale and grow with them. But our second range of products, which are the kids' snacks, are being made with a manufacturer here in Scotland, and so that allows us to diversify and overcome some of the challenges, because certainly outsourcing has advantages, but also, it does make you vulnerable to certain things.
Do you have contingencies in place? So let's say that manufacturer that you're relying on for the milk, if they hike their prices, have you got scenarios in your head where if that does happen, you've got alternative suppliers that you could go to?
Yeah, so unfortunately here in the UK, capacity is very limited, so there isn't really another option in the UK. We have already made contacts with manufacturers in Europe, which would be unfortunately the option that we would have to go to if there were a breakdown in that here. However, having the other manufacturer with our other range of products does give us the 2 different ranges that if we were to run into issues, we would still have revenue stream coming in from one, even if there were an issue with the other.
Thinking about the market and the dominance of brands like Oatly. My daughter loves Oatly, just as an aside. But how do you, it's a juggernaut. It's huge. How do you compete against a brand like that in this space?
Yeah, it's challenging. The plant-based milk space is crowded. So for us, it's about authenticity of the brand. I'm a mum. I have this lived experience, and so our community of loyal customers are people like me, and I think having that voice and being able to engage with them directly, nowadays it is all about building that community around you, and our new range of kids' snacks are completely different. There's nothing like it on the shelves at the moment in terms of the nutrition content and the type of product that they are, so we believe that will really set us apart, and getting people hooked on them will help people get hooked on the milks as well.
Perfect. That's all the time we've got.
Thank you.
Circuit and customer preferences are clear. 85% of Scottish adults think it's vital to shop local. But ultimately, it's just not as convenient as jumping on that app that's ironically named after a rainforest. And what we're trying to do is it's exactly this user-first focus that we've adopted that's predicated our product market fit. We've created a solution for this problem. It's a marketplace where local businesses have their items catalogued and local consumers can see what their local businesses stock and have a one-stop shop to search, browse and buy from them. At the end of March this year, we launched our pilot phase in a small town in Aberdeenshire. We successfully onboarded many businesses who are happy with our 7% sales take rate. Furthermore, we generated some sales and revenue, and we're looking to further expand into Aberdeen to prove our model in a city environment. In that first city environment, phase 1 of our expansion, we've got an accessible market of about 180,000 users, and our total addressable market upon full expansion is ultimately everyone that shops online in the UK. We're not trying to compete with Amazon. We're not a delivery service. We've outsourced that to a local supplier. We're not a returns call centre. We're not going to be doing that. Our point of difference is that we're a localised marketplace, and trends show that people are willing to engage with that and they're willing to pay for that. I'd like to just end on this one point. If I said to everyone, we've now got the tools at our fingertips to realistically address economic, social and environmental challenges just by doing what we love to do, which is to shop online, that sounds like a pretty good tool if we shop locally. Thank you.
Thank you. You talk about what you've achieved so far, and you've been working locally, and then thinking about expanding to Aberdeen. I'm thinking, how do you scale this? What does it take to keep growing the business? And at the same time, how do you do the marketing locally? How do you reconcile those two challenges, which are really pulling in opposite directions?
So the first notion of scalability, we found with our pilot, working with local anchor groups, business associations, business improvement districts, charities that are focused on enterprise. They really have a vested interest in seeing enterprise first. So that's how we really get a broad base involvement. So in Aberdeen, for example, we've got a criteria and we've got 250 potential small business vendors that fit our target market, and working with the Chamber of Commerce, we're going to be associating with that. And the second question about marketing, I forgot to because I stuttered a wee bit. We're looking for £250,000 to essentially get locally into Scotland's main areas. And a lot of that would be traction work. And you know, our team, we're called Market Ethically Limited. We're marketers at heart. We love e-commerce. We've got anthropology backgrounds, so we know behaviours. And we're really looking at addressing a social and ethical challenge, which we can do so to really enhance our communities, bolster local economies, and actually have a really easy way to tackle such a big problem, which is the climate crisis. And so that is our point of difference, and that's our traction model, that's our USP, and that's what we're going to push.
I want to pull on that thread that Mary Jane just started on. There's a little bit of tension between localised platform and scalability. And with the funding that you're looking for, I mean, how are you going to drive sales? Is it going to be boots on the ground, people out and about? And if so, are you going to buy that in? Do you have expertise in overseeing sales teams Because it's a great idea. It's just going to be about the execution at the end of the day.
In terms of expertise, and then I'll get into how we're going to drive sales. Expertise, very recently, I've come to the realisation that outsourced expertise has been invaluable. So we work with Andy Robinson at Codebase, who's really honed our value proposition, our product market fit. Paul Faulkner at Business Gateway for the high growth to really get ourselves a proper traction model. And lastly, Aberdeenshire Council have included Lokali into their place-based approach. So they see the benefit of shopping local, and that expertise for sales we're going to be utilising in terms of our product market fit. The second question was about how we're going to drive sales with essentially a localised platform. By doing so, I think the best example and the only data that I have, we're very data-led, and so from our pilot we had 29 unique sales, predominantly which came from organic Google searches of products, which shows that there's a market there for people looking for items and then being diverted to a localised marketplace. And with the ability to stimulate and further ensure local purchases, and local can be a UK, can be a Scotland thing, and that has the influence to manufacturing, supply chains, and that whole ecosystem and network is something that we're really looking to address long term.
2 questions, because I always like to ask 2. Amazon, obviously you're trying to get people away from it. How are you going to measure if you're doing that, number 1, successfully? And number 2, what stops Amazon if they're like, okay, everybody wants to shop local all of a sudden, designing their own version of a similar product?
So what I would say is entities like Etsy, entities like Amazon, eBay, they've already got localized instances of what they're doing, but there's just not that demand or push to it because everyone's aware of the conglomerate in the room to a degree. How we're going to measure that is the amount of spend that is spent regionally, locally, neighbourhood-wise is so huge on e-commerce from all age groups, from all demographics. At the beginning, if we're capturing a fraction of that, we're generating the revenue we need. And if we continuously build on that and we ultimately show to our users that they can jump on locally and find an item, but instead of it coming from a container ship in China, for example, it's being sourced locally, that would lend to the network effect.
Brilliant. That's all the time we have. Thank you. Great pitch. And finally for tonight, we have Lauren from Fodilicious. A huge round of applause, please.
This is bright. Just 5s across the board, please. That's,
Thank you. Irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, affects 1 in 5 people across the UK, and this costs our NHS £45 million annually. Diet has a major impact on IBS, and a low FODMAP diet effectively relieves symptoms. FODMAPs are a chain of trigger foods, including gluten, dairy, fruits and sugars commonly found in many convenience food products and should be avoided for those with IBS. The free-from food market is booming, yet there's a huge lack of low FODMAP, IBS-friendly products available. I'm Lauren, I suffer from IBS and I'm passionate to help others like me. Fodilicious provides the UK's first low FODMAP, allergen-free snacks, granola and natural energy drinks. With a social impact, we help those who suffer from IBS to live a better quality of life. And so far, we've sold over 150,000 units of our snacks, have built a successful e-commerce business gaining Amazon Choice status, and have secured UK retail listings with Asda launching next spring. Our team includes myself. I have first-hand experience with IBS and I'm studying for my Masters in Accountancy and Finance. And my business partner, who's also my mum, has 30 years experience in e-commerce. We've also built up our board of advisors, which includes the chairman of Nairn's Oatcakes. And today we're pitching to raise £150,000 investment in order to scale our business, expand our team, and to ultimately continue helping those who suffer from IBS to access our products. Thank you.
One question. Shocked you that, didn't it? So, not 2, just the 1. Expanding your team. So, yeah, with the money, who are you bringing on? Why?
Yeah, of course. So we're going through a phase that we're taking our startup business to scale up, and with the Asda listing confirmed next year, that's our first major retail listing. We plan to grow on the back of that. So we need some help. There's only two of us at the moment, although we've built up a successful team. We outsource our manufacturing. We've got 2 stable BRC allergen-free manufacturers for technical support and scalability, etc. We're looking to recruit a business development manager to help us grow our sales within the retail, food and drink sector, food service, wholesale, but also internationally, where already we're exporting to 8 countries worldwide, and we've got huge demand in the USA. And on the back of that, I'm also, as a young entrepreneur, I'm really passionate to support young people into employment. So we're looking to take on a marketing assistant to help us with all the socials and e-marketing as well.
I've got the microphone. You talk about your manufacturers. Again, I'd be interested to hear how you found them, how that's going, and also what your product development plans are.
Yes. So we currently work with 2 manufacturers. We've got, as I mentioned in my pitch, we have Snacks Granola and the world's first natural low FODMAP certified energy drink. So our product range is hugely innovative. We work with our bakery manufacturer, both who are BRC allergen-free accredited. We own all IP for our products. There's NDAs, SLAs in place, and our brand name and product names are trademarked too. Sorry, I forgot your...
So it was more about what you're doing next. So are you adding further manufacturers? Do you split the products across the manufacturers?
Yes.
And also, you've talked about your existing range. Do you need to add to that range to grow, or can you grow with the existing range?
So over the last 3 years, we've worked really hard to invest in our product range and the innovation side. And our snacks that you see in front of you, they are scaled up and ready to go, and that's what we're supplying to retail. Our other 2 ranges, we have to invest, especially our drinks that are at prototype stage. We've tested the market, we've got fantastic feedback, but we need the working capital in order to scale those, get them to a retail ready point so that we can benefit from economies of scale, bring our unit costs down and get those products out to market. But within these 3 ranges, we're confident that our sales are going to continue to grow, and we're passionate to have a diverse range of products, because people with IBS, there's currently no options for low FODMAP and gut health products for IBS, so we're passionate to create a diverse range.
You just touched on unit costs there. What are they? What are your margins?
Yep.
And where are you just now financially in terms of the business?
Yep. So our margins for, I'll take our snack products for example, we make around 40% margin for that on a B2B. For our e-commerce model, it's around 52%, depending on what discount we give to our loyal customers. Our turnover is sitting at about £85,000. We're confident we'll be able to almost double that after our first retail listing launches next year, as does around 150 stores as an emerging brand. So we're really excited about that, and that's what we're all about. We're passionate to make sure that people with IBS can access our products, and having a footfall in a retail will really enhance that.
Second question. Yeah, just from a sales point of view, have you ever considered explore like partnerships with maybe health benefit like Bupa or gyms or that sort of thing?
Yes, so we work closely with wholesalers who supply into pharmacies, etc., and that is on our pipeline to tap into that market. We work with independent health shops, retailers, and we're also partnered with IBS Network, the UK charity, to really raise awareness of IBS, the benefits of the low FODMAP diet, and in terms of our brand is there as a point of support for people to relieve their symptoms.
Perfect. That's all.
Thank you.
Well done. So that's the end of the pitches for tonight. If I could just give the judges a quick reminder to finish and submit their forms. My colleagues Sian and Amelie are going to go away and work out who the winner is, which we'll find out in a moment. Before we have that announcement, I just want to take a moment to thank our partners, the people that help us make the pitch possible, and keep it free for all the founders that take part. So first, we have Curry's Business, who provide all of the hardware you need to start and run your startup. That's everything from the stuff like laptops that we all have, but also the really good AV equipment like some of the cameras you can see us using today. We've worked with them to give not just discounts to the finalists, but also create lots of educational content. So if you are interested in growing your TikTok following or doing short form social video more broadly, we've got a free course that you can take on our homepage. It's 3 modules. It's really simple, but it gives you all the structure you need to grow that kind of following. Secondly, we have Vodafone Business. They have an amazing initiative called VHub, which means you can book free coaching calls whenever you want with their experts. That could be anything from maybe you need an hour to talk to somebody about marketing or finance, or maybe you just want to run through your pitch before a competition like today. So if you are looking for a little bit of help or advice on a specialist subject, again, if you visit the pitch homepage, we've got a link that will take you right through so you can book a session. We also have Sage. Sage have supported the pitch for the last 3 years, and particularly they help us around the people in our audience, our community that are either running their business as a side hustle or they're solopreneurs. So I think a lot of us have been in that stage. That's how I started out. And there's a lot to take on and a lot of pressure. So we've done advice-led content, and we've got a whole hub that can help you there. And it looks at everything from work-life balance to how to manage your personal and business budget. So if you are in that position, have a look at that, and there's lots of help and advice for you. We also have Agora. So Agora are a recruitment agency that specialise into hiring into high-growth startups. So it could be that you've just closed a round or something like that, and they can help you build out your team and bring in the right people. They also hire into investment firms too. I know a lot of you are kind of just slightly before that stage, but they're also running a free initiative at the moment to help people right at the start of their journey who are kind of trying to figure out not just who to hire first, but also maybe who should be their co-founder. So they help about 6 companies a year like that. So if you are in that position where you're just sort of feeling out, what should my initial team look like, pop me a message on LinkedIn and I'm happy to introduce you to their team. Finally, we have Seeders. Seeders, for those of you that haven't heard of them before, are an equity crowdfunding platform. That means that when you're raising an investment round, you can have not just kind of people like we've got on the stage today, so sophisticated investors, angels and VCs, but you can also welcome the crowd to your investment round too. So what ends up happening is you have a round where perhaps you've got some private investment from some angels. You can then open it up to easily to friends and family and customers, and then finally get it in front of lots of people that are investors on their platform that might never have heard of your business before. So not only does it give you more capital potentially for your round, but it also creates a lot of advocates in your business. So you can imagine as a customer, even if you put £10 into a round, all of a sudden you've got skin in the game, quite literally, and you're going to advocate for that business. That's a great route if you're thinking about crowdfunding. And again, for that one, if you do want an introduction to their fundraising team, just pop me a message on LinkedIn and I can facilitate that. Also happy to do calls if people just want to talk about crowdfunding more broadly and, is it right for your business? Just before we announce the winner, which I think we've worked out, I'm getting some nods from the back, so that's brilliant. I'd love just to go to the judges quickly and get maybe a quick quote about the cohort tonight and anything that sort of got you excited.
There you go. Quote. Well, there's quite a few in health, which obviously I said early doors is what I do get excited about. Speak to a lot of health tech, so that was cool. But it was also, I do speak to a lot of tech companies. So the fact that there was quite a few that weren't tech was a bit of a difference for me. So it's not a quote, but I enjoyed that I could see another side of it, if you like, another side other than tech.
Brilliant.
Well done. That was good. Thank you very much for an entertaining evening.
I don't have much to add. I really, just personally really enjoyed it and wish you all the best in your adventures.
Brilliant. Yes, if I can get the envelope. The other thing is as well, so we, if you do want to support these businesses tonight, if you're in the audience either here today or watching at home, you can obviously become a customer. That's one thing you can do to help. You can give them some advice, so maybe pop some feedback on their social media or chat to them tonight. Or maybe you'll be an investor. But I do want us to use the networking time afterwards to do that kind of thing. So do reach out to the founders. And without further ado, the winner of tonight is Lauren from Fodilicious. If you just give us a few words, that'd be lovely.
Oh, Oh, thank you so much. And I think all the pitches tonight were absolutely amazing. It was so good to network and hear about everyone's ideas. And we're all kind of in the same space in some capacity, whether it's health or food and drink or whatnot. So it's just amazing being here. And I think the pitch is a great opportunity. But thank you to the judges for seeing the growth in my business. I'm really, really excited. Thank you.
Brilliant. So that, well done. Brilliant. So that's it for this evening. We'd love it if you hang around and have a drink and chat to the judges and the founders that were pitching. So thanks for being such a welcoming crowd. Cheers.